Okay, so we're going to actually get started today. So the rewind with number 3, what kind of math is that? Multiplication. How do you know that in number 3? The parentheses tell you, or if there's no sign, you assume that it's multiplication, right? Good. What's number 4? That was the one that tripped the most people up. What's going on in number 4? What are you doing? Adding fractions, you got to remember to change the denominators, right? So what's the common denominator between 2 and 5? 10. Good. So then you figure out if your denominator changes, does your numerator change? Yes, because whatever you do to the bottom, you do to the top. Good. Okay. All right, so we're going to get started today with some definitions and some words. And this was my recommendation last year if you had me. This is my recommendation now. If I were you guys, I would take all my notes on the slides that I hand out, and whatever I write down on the board, you should write down on your slides and save those slides. It's going to help you in your practice problems, and it's going to help you when you go to study for a test. Okay, so these are the basic geometric terms that we're going to use starting today for the rest of the year. So, what do you think a point is? A dot. It looks like a dot, right? So it's one-dimensional. So one-dimensional figure, because we have to have a fancy way of saying dot. Okay? So it's a dot. All right, I can't get this line to go away. I don't know why it's there. Pretend it's not, because it doesn't look like that. It looks like a dot. Okay? What does notation mean? What does it mean when we say notation? What do you think that word means? It's how we write something, how we make a note of it. So just how we write something. And if we're talking about a point, we name it with one letter. Okay, so just one letter. So for example, it would be like point A, we would just say A. Point B, we would just say B. So it's one letter. All right. You'll notice that they are usually capital letters. They're usually capital. So if a point is one-dimensional, what do you think a line is? A line is two-dimensional. A line has 2 dimensions. It's a 2-dimensional figure. What does it look like? A line. Okay. The important thing here, what do you notice about the ends of it? It keeps going. All right. One of the greatest examples of a line that we use in math, a lot of teachers have them hanging up around their rooms. A number line. Okay. It keeps going in both directions. A line continues infinitely. When we name it with 2 letters. And above that, that's the symbol for line. Okay. So we would call it AB. And A and B are points on that line. Okay, so AB, line AB, has arrows on the end because it goes on forever and ever and ever and ever. Does anyone know what a plane is? Does anyone know what a plane is? What? Like a coordinate plane? Good, yeah, okay. A plane is a flat surface. So if you look at the top of your desk, this is a plane. All right, so whereas a line would just be like the edge of your desk, the plane would be like the whole surface. Okay, so it's a flat surface. And the way that we draw this usually just is like this. All right, so that would be a plane. And a lot of times, planes are named 2 different ways. You would say plane ABC, okay, or sometimes they'll put one cursive letter, and then you could call it plane D. I don't ever really use that one because I'm not very good at doing cursive, okay? So you should be writing down everything that I'm writing down right now. So you'll notice that a point is named with how many letters? 1. A line is named with
2.
and a plane is named with 3. Okay, a plane has to have 3 letters. And in front of the plane, you put this little box. Yeah. Good, ahead of the game. We already know what a rhombus is. All right, what's a segment? What do you think a segment is? Sometimes they describe like, I ate an orange segment.
Like a piece?
Yeah, like a piece, exactly. A segment is a piece of a line. With 2 endpoints. So a segment looks similar to a line, except what's the difference? It stops. Very good. All right, so we name it the same way as a line, except that the thing on top is now a segment and not a line symbol. All right, so a segment is a piece of a line. And I wrote in here that it has 2 endpoints. What is an endpoint? The end point. I don't actually know a better way to define it than just the point at the end, which seems repetitive when it's called an endpoint, but that's what I'm going to put because I don't know a better way to define it. So the point at the end of a segment or array. We would say A or B are endpoints, just like the same way that we name a point. Does anyone know what array is? Yeah, it has one endpoint, and then the other way it goes how long? Forever. So what do we put at the other end of it? An arrow. So it would look like this. Starts with A, goes through B, and then goes on forever. So one endpoint extends forever the other way. All right, does anyone have guesses on how we write that? What the notation might be? What would we call this, do you think? It's very similar to a line and a segment.
AB?
It's AB, all right, because it starts at A and then goes through B, and then what do you think we put on the top of it? Just a point and an arrow, okay? Does the order matter in array of the letters? Yes. Why does the order matter? Your F?
Because one is ending and the other.
Okay, so A is where it starts, so that has to be your first letter. B is the one that it goes through. So basically the point should go above the start and the arrow should go above where it goes through. All right? For a line and a segment, it doesn't matter. You can flip them. All right, and opposite rays are just 2 rays going in, exactly, going in opposite directions. With one endpoint. So that means we have ray AB and AC. All right, AB goes this way, AC goes the opposite way, but they both start with what letter? A, because that's the point that they share. All right, so A goes through B this way, through C that way, and they share that point. This looks a lot like a line. In fact, it makes a line. All right, so it makes a line. It looks very similar. Okay, that's a lot of words. I will post this on Google Classroom also, so if you didn't get it all copied down, it will be posted for you to see, and then the video will be up as well. Okay, so let's identify some of the following. So what do we have up here? What do we have up here? Is there a point up here?
Yes.
What is it? E. So E is a point. Good. E is a point. Okay, is there a line up here? Which one is a line? B or F. Okay, B or F. So this is a line and this is a line, which means either of these could technically also be what? Opposite rays. So they could also be opposite rays. What's C? C is a ray. Good. How do you know C is a ray? It only has that one endpoint. What's A? A is a segment. What's D? D.
Oh, D.
Endpoint. Good. D is an endpoint. And then what's G, Ash?
A plane.
A plane. Good. G is a plane. Okay, we're going to go through this whole year and we're going to talk about postulates and we're going to talk about theorems. Postulates and theorems are essentially just some stuff you want to know, and most of these are pretty self-explanatory. So this is just writing down some stuff that you want to know, but there is some vocab in here that you'll need to know. All right, so through any 2 points, there's exactly one line. That just means a line can connect any 2 points. If I'm a point and Danny's a point, can we draw a line from me to Danny? Yes? If I'm a point and Des is a point, could we draw a line from me to Desiree? Yes? Could I draw the same line from me to Danny and me to Desiree?
Yes.
What would it have to do though? It would have to curve. Is that a line anymore? No? So I can only connect 2 points with a line. Unless what about Desiree? What would I have to do with Desiree to make it one line? Move her where?
Behind Danny.
Either behind Danny or like in between me and Danny, right? Somewhere already on that line. Good. Okay, so for any 3 non-collinear points, this is the only vocab word in here that you really need to know. And let's try to break down what this means, because you guys have a lot of knowledge on prefixes and suffixes. What does non mean? So it's not. What does co mean? With. Okay, so not with, like my coworkers or people I work with, your co-student. They don't say co-students, but that would be people we go to school with. So not with. All right, and then what do you think linear means? A line. So not with or not on the same line. So for example, bless you. Which of these is a non-collinear point? C. Good. C is non-collinear. A and B then are what? Collinear. All right. A and B are collinear. Collinear and non-collinear are just opposites. One means not, one means with. Okay? So on the same line, A and B, C is non-collinear. So just any point that's not on that line. Is D also collinear or non-collinear? Non-collinear. What if I do this? Now D is collinear with what? C. Good. Okay? So it just means on the same line. Okay, so as you do your practice on the board, this looks like a lot of questions. You're not copying the questions. Okay, so for number 1, name a line that contains point A. Let's do this one together. So name a line that contains point A. So in this figure, what line is point A on? AC. And how do I write that? AC with a line on top, which means that what should be on the ends of it? Arrows. Okay, I'm looking for notation. That's really important here. So make sure your notation is correct. Okay, do the rest of the 9 of those. Okay, so Name a line that passes through 2 points in this figure. What's a line that passes through 2 points in this figure? So we can either call it line N, or how else could you name it if we're using geometric notation? GH, and what should I put on top? Okay, now people always, people will get the GH right and then not put the line on top. If you don't put the line on top, do you think I'm going to mark it right or wrong? Why? It's part of it, and it's not just because I'm OCD or over the top, but if you don't have anything on top, I could also be talking about a segment or array, right? So this geometric notation is not important just because I'm telling you have to do it this way because I want it this way. It's important because otherwise I don't know what you're talking about. So if you put this, that's fine. If you name it like this, that's also fine, but this is considered proper geometric notation, okay? All right. What is R? R is the plane, exactly. So it's the whole figure. What's a non-collinear point on R? F, good. F is a non-collinear point on R. Do you think N is a point? No. Why is N there? It's the name of the line. How can you tell it's not a point?
Because it's not inside.
It's not on the line, right? It's not on the line. It's off to the side. Okay? All right. Have you guys ever seen The Internship with Vince Vaughn? The Internship with Vince Vaughn and Owen Wilson, where they go work at Google? Has anyone seen that? Oh, well, no one's going to help me out then. Okay, well, if anybody's seen it, there's this whole scene where he's trying to explain, he thinks he invented Instagram. He's like, I have this idea for this thing where you take a photo and you post it on the line. And he keeps saying on the line. And they're like, you mean online? Yeah, they already have that. It's called Instagram. But every time I teach this lesson, I say on the line over and over again. That's what I'm thinking in my head. So I'm glad you've seen it. The rest of you all just don't get my jokes. All right, let's try to fill in these blanks. If two lines intersect, then they intersect at what? Where do you think, if two lines intersect, what do you think they intersect at? At the intersecting what? Point. Very good. They intersect at exactly 1 point. All right, so that's exactly 1 point, and we call it the point of intersection or the intersection point. So for example, these two lines intersect where? At point X, exactly, or just X. Good. If two planes intersect, what do you think they intersect at? A line, exactly. They intersect at exactly 1 line. Now, it's difficult for me to draw this, so I want you to visualize. And to visualize, I'm going to steal Laura's paper. This is a plane. It's a flat surface. This is a plane. Do they intersect just at one spot, or where do they intersect? Everywhere along the side where they meet, right? So they intersect at exactly 1 line. So if two planes are intersecting, they intersect at 1 line. I'm going to try to draw it. No. Well, Micah, if I could, then I would be a talented artist. So, no, I can't. I think I have one on the next page. I don't know what you even mean. Like a cube like this? Or like this, Ash? Is this what you're talking about?
Yeah.
See, I told you.
Ah, there we go. Thanks. This is a good thing you're here. Okay, so let's say that this is the front of the box and this is the side of the box. They intersect along this one edge, right? So they intersect at 1 line. So two planes intersect at a line. Two lines intersect at a point. Okay. Sketch a line that intersects a plane but does not lie in the plane. What do you think that means? So a line that intersects the plane but it doesn't lie in the plane. Okay. But I'm looking for a line. It goes through it, exactly. So it's like if you stood this pen up on this plane, this desk plane, it's touching it at one point, and it would go through it, but it wouldn't lie on it. So it would be lying on it if it's like this. In this case, it's going through it. So the way that that looks when you sketch it. Okay, what did I do there? You make it dotted. What does that mean when it's dotted? It's going through it. It's kind of like you can see it, but it's not really there. So this line is going through it. It hits it at X, and then it keeps going, but it doesn't lie on the plane. So X would be a point that lies not on the plane, but it intersects it. So think about it if a plane is like, have any of you guys ever played darts or seen The Hunger Games where she practices shooting with an arrow? Okay, so picture that. She's like shooting at a bullseye. If she shoots an arrow and it went through the bullseye, it would intersect exactly where it went through, but it wouldn't lay on it. Does that make sense? Okay.
So it's like a ray.
Yes, it's like in this point here, now it's a ray going this way and a ray going this way. Neither of them lie on the plane. Okay. I'm going to skip this part. So, these are your 4 practice problems. No, they're not. These are 4 we're going to go through together. Okay, so these are 4 we'll go through together. So, a line containing point C. Give me a line on here that contains point C. Line what? L. So we can call it line L. Or what else could I call it? AB. With the arrows on both ends. Good. What is a plane that contains point D? I could either call it plane N, or what could I call it? Box. And how many letters? How many letters do you need for a plane? 3? Any 3 letters that are points on that plane. So give me any 3 letters that are on a plane. A, B, C. Good. Plane A, B, C. All right. Where do planes P and N intersect? Where do planes P and N? P is like this plane right here. N is this one right here. Where do they intersect? AB is a what? Line. Okay, so it has to be a line. And in this case, the line where they touch each other is what? AB. Good. AB. Does AB intersect point C? Does AB intersect point C? No. So we would call C what kind of point? Good. C is non-collinear. Great job, guys. All right, C is non-collinear. Okay, so at your boards, do just 1, 2, 3. Just 1, 2, and 3.